Greetings, beautiful beings. Today's video is all about grids and how Gridwork can also be working with your avatar, your body, your energy centers. So if you're ready to dive in, let's go. So being that every night, as well as during the day when you're doing guided meditations or self-hypnosis or self-guided meditations, you have the opportunity to look behind the scenes, to look behind the veil, to look within your subconscious, to look beyond what seems very apparent in the gross matter world, what's really behind all that in the ethereal, behind your two eyes, during dream time, etc., during your meditations, in your imagination. So we have the power to align into higher probabilities with our imagination in our dream times, etc., super consciously, as well as we have the ability to use our keen perception, our spiritual eyes, to see what's in the subconscious, to see memories that are recycling, or not so much recycling, they're recycling. They're happening again and again because of being unprocessed. So when we use our dream time super consciously and we ask questions prior to dream time, like you could ask your higher self a question about what's going on in your life, why does this keep happening? And you will show yourself much, as well as very deep truth that's being bound up in your subconscious, in your body map, in the Gridwork map we're going to talk about today. So we also have the opportunity to do, like I said, self-hypnosis or go through guided meditations or hypnosis sessions. By the way, I am offering this Thursday, June 19th, higher self therapy certification. If you are not local to Palm Harbor, Tampa Bay area, Florida, we can also do something in private, a private training. So just reach out. Okay, so you have all those opportunities to do this work. So I'm going to speak to something very present that was shown to me. And sometimes you're going to utilize, even in the waking day, you're guided to certain, videos. I was guided to a couple podcasters. You're going to be literally having things happen in front of you that are showing you scenes that are recycling themselves, or giving you nuggets, giving you keys to point you to something you need to actually further research. So I was guided to Dahlia and Dan Winter's interview recently, or this weekend, and the importance of, we both share a strong importance reminder of how important it is to do your shadow work, your Akashic work, when you're using things like the TheraPhi, because the TheraPhi is literally illuminating anything in your aura, as well as winding it back up, bundling it back up out the top of your head for you to process it. So large packets of plasma, photonic light, get highlighted and wound up to be dealt with. And so that's one key, and I'll refer back to that in a moment, that I was again pointed to from my intelligence to look at. And being that we have the TheraPhi here at the center, it is, again, a very important note to make to self, to clients, to everyone who comes to use the TheraPhi. If you just do your shadow work, especially right after your session, anything that does happen to come up emotionally, and really understand it, where it's coming from, and process it with love, compassion, and understanding, you will then enter a new trajectory. You will enter a new higher realm of existence and ground a more coherent, balanced love, all-encompassing love, longitudinal, fifth dimensional, fifth density space, where there's more wholeness, there's higher thought form, there's higher activities going on. And when you don't process it, it's like you stay down low below the heart in these lower three realms. And so there's that key. And the second key was, I was guided to someone I haven't seen in a while, which is Seven Bomar, and his research of looking at three different texts, sacred texts, that are Sumerian and even pre-Sumerian consciousness around the Anunnaki, the Anu and Lil, and how Anu and Enlil seeded humanity, first starting with gods on the planet, and Enki, almost like their god child, coming to Earth along with other gods to go ahead and work this planet. And how from all those gods being here and they then needing workers, so humans came next, and the humans were the workers for the gods on the planet that were essentially also working for the Anunnaki and the higher realms. And so every story, even if it doesn't feel true for you, every story that you get led to, even movies, there's a reason you're bringing that to yourself. You're bringing it to yourself because there's a resonance. You wouldn't be projecting it out in front of you or gravitating and tangling with it if you did not have some resonance with it. Sometimes the resonance is that you no longer want to cycle that story. So you gather the story so you can see it, and then you recode it, make new understandings from it, and then make it something new. Sometimes you're gathering it to you because you need to integrate it and you need to embody it and hold the presence of it, hold the wisdom and clarity, and really regain your her story. Before the history was the her story. Regain the cosmic mother stories of how, the womb mother, the mommy on the planet that we're working with, guarding the planet and helping creations, these womb mothers, these womb goddesses would then bring forward the humans. And so those her stories, those histories that have gotten wiped from our memory, need to be reinserted back into the collective. So you can take it or leave it, but just to see it at least, okay? And so in Seven Bomar's research, it wasn't his most recent, I'll put it in the comments here, but in his research, in his recounting, and his sharing the receipts of his research, he also shared, that every 1,200 years, in one of the texts, it was showing that the humans would have unrest and the memory would get wiped, that the great, the higher level Anunnaki would come and create some sort of flood or reset to wipe everything clean, some sort of to wipe the memory clean so the humans would actually still continue to be the slaves and be the workers. And so even pandemics that they would create. So you have to really take all that in and think about where you are and where you find yourself right now and make use of these codes and keys that are coming to us, to your awareness, so that you can make sense of them, gather greater understanding, and have more of your soul essence come home for embodiment, to allow yourself to live in a higher probability and higher trajectory, and to be the creator here, to be able to have all your gifts and skills and your abilities, your high-level abilities back online. You have to know who you are and what you're capable of. And so you have to also understand what you are giving homage to, or you are praying to, maybe an old story that is literally creating a ceiling and you can't seem to get beyond it. You keep hitting that ceiling, trying to grow or actualize the highest version life. And because you don't know who you are or these stories, these her stories, you're missing those origin stories so that you can actually step into the bigger presence, be the I am that you came here to be in oneness, live in your heart, and be projecting from this sacred avatar pineal gland greater probabilities. Otherwise, if you have no access to your origin stories, you can't seem to make it out and allow yourself to open up into a higher, bigger packet of your being, okay? So it's like, here you are, you're this individual soul, and this is your Taurus, and it's a 6 foot, 3 foot in each direction, but yet you keep hitting this ceiling because you're recycling an old story that doesn't allow you to grow into a bigger version self and get beyond the ceiling. So once you understand these beyond your pre-7-year-old stories, even though your early childhood will mimic these origin stories of how we originated here in smaller personal fashions, if you don't even know what you're looking for, then it may take you a little bit to actually, get the actual memo that says, hey, go look beyond the story you've been told, okay? So, and this brings us back to the TheraPhi and Dahlia's talk, in the sense that when you are laying in a technology such as a plasma med bed, TheraPhi Plasma Med Bed, and you're in a perfected golden mean ratio spiral that's helping to pull you through and pull your, when I say you, I mean your photonic plasma light, your photonic light that is soul essence, when it's looking to pull you through, and it's like almost like you hit a cloud, and that this big cloud of information, if you don't necessarily know where it's coming from or what the information is about, because you're not necessarily knowing to actually ask within to your higher self, to source consciousness, who, what, when, where, why, what is actually in this cloud? then you may just, it may not go all the way through so that you can expand into this bigger packet of yourself. I'm running out of the board. Into this bigger packet. And instead, what happens is then you have some tears, you cry, live out that same lower version misunderstanding after you get up after your meditation, or you are, you just came off the TheraPhi, or it's the exact date or a marker in time when the moon was in Taurus, etc., and there was an eclipse, whatever common factor rolls back around, if you can't make sense of it, then you live it out in the here and now, fractured, traumatized, misunderstood, and you just keep thinking, I don't know why I can't get past, this ceiling. Okay? So those were the main things I wanted to share on the keys that were brought to me. Now let's start to weave in the grid work. When I was working with my dream time last night, I was very lucid and I was asking the questions of, okay, is there anything within the field, or I should say the gross matter grid that we find ourselves in, the earth, the Tara, the Gaia, that I need to understand so that I too can grow to the next level? And I was more looking at, in my dream time, the center where I find myself here, our three miracles at the current center. And Spirit, my greater intelligence, showed me the importance of the grid work in relationship to your physical avatar, your body, and the energetic body system of your energy centers. And that Spirit was reminding me to share with self, to share with you, that pay attention to your own personal grid work. Whether your grid work is personal on an altar, okay, so like I was going to show you, an altar. Let me move some of my props, right? We've got an altar here. We've got some crystals that may be harder to see, but these could be your realm one, your rocks, okay? Out your first energy center, which is your root, your knees, your feet, and your earth star. Those 6 points have exit points that by you placing your grid, your rocks, your dense matter in specific geometric patterns, you can help yourself evolve and make the seemingly outside of you work for you and help you hold higher trajectories, okay? So you would get instructions. You could use a pendulum, and you could ask, do I need to work with my personal grid right here? And this could be an or do I need to work on the grid outside my house? Yes. Outside the center? Yes. Do I need to do all 3 of those? Yes. So that's what I mean. It could be or that you need to work outside and work on, placing some rocks in a certain position, or make a labyrinth, or make a stone circle of some sort. Or it could be at your altar. It could be it could be both. In my case, I got here, the center, and my house. Which house? The house I'm staying in, Crystal Beach house. Okay, so that will help me feel more stabilized in the first dimension, in the first density on Earth. And so that I'm held. These are support structures when you're doing grid work, okay? You want to utilize the elementals and the grids of the earth, the ley lines, which are called song lines, dragon lines. You want to utilize the nodal points, the portals, the springs. When we're dealing with water, that's going to kind of lead us into the second realm or the second density. You want to utilize those so that you feel more held at these first 3 energy centers. Okay, so the second energy center has an opening, a door hole. Okay, it's like your essence walks out of the second energy center, and then you want to pay attention to your water, the water in your body. Tell the water in your body, I love you. You're doing a great job. You're in perfected, hexagon shape. You're loved, right? Water holds memory. You want to speak to your water. Maybe you have a spring outside, a pool, a pond, a river, an ocean. You want to talk to the water, guides and guardians, the dolphins, the fish, right? You want to ask the water consciousness information. And you could have on like your small altar, like a cup of water, tinctures of water, of oils, liquid substance, okay? Water is also going to be dealing with your emotions. So that's going to help stabilize your emotions, right? And then third was the fire. So third, coming out of your third energy center, the fire element, you're going to want to possibly light a candle at your altar. You may do a small campfire outside in your stone circle. You may be asked to, do some sort of fire ceremony. You may be asked to transfigure or burn some papers that are no longer serving, that are binding you into a lower story, an old origin story that maybe isn't true for you. And that's going to help you, again, lift and be held so that you can actually start to rise the spirit that you are beyond the 6-foot aura into your oversoul and embody the oversoul, and more importantly, embody the monadic structure, which is the bigger presence, help larger groups of people, the monad meeting the one. And when you do grid work, whether inside your home, outside your home, our Three Miracles helped put a labyrinth, the 7-circuit labyrinth at the Unity Church down the street and here in Tampa Bay area. We're going to do one at Honeymoon Island next. You putting extra attention into this magnetic field, this bigger grid work that you can do outside, can then help you to then breathe the spirit, the light, your soul, the monadic spirit, the Holy Spirit into those grid points and hold a higher trajectory. Again, not only just for you, but for the greater collective. So, especially if you dissect, research, integrate a higher origin story, higher, let's say there was an old flood that you're processing, which we just did here in, Florida from the last 2 hurricanes, processed a lot of old story around Atlantis. Then you're stabilizing and stabilizing the field, stable with the grid, with the understandings, and allowing for more to be held in that stable still point for all others to be building on a new foundation of love, peace, joy, greater understanding, integration of a new origin story, truth, okay? Things that collapse. Everything will collapse that is not based on truth and on love. Does that make sense? If it was told from a lie, if it was built on a foundation of fear, so you got lies, fear, any kind of distortion, it will eventually collapse on itself. However, that which is eternal, that which is of loving, of truth, of light, of freedom, of, sovereignty, sustains and expands eternally. It is forever growing. That Christ diamond heart, which I think we've talked about on here. If not, we'll do another video here soon. But that Christ diamond heart that's eternally spiraling even beyond the golden mean spiral, bringing about a new trajectory, making all things new, bringing back all of our key memories that will be of benefit for us to move forward. So I hope this video helps some of you with some aspect, if not all of it. Please leave in the comments anything about this video that helps you, have questions, you want to reach out. I'm also going to reach out to Dahlia if you see this, and I would love to talk to you more about what you've shared. Otherwise, we hope you all have a magical day. Please reach out if you want to go ahead and do the Higher Self Therapy certification this Thursday, if not online and privately on Zoom. Until next time.